Heather Zykowski, the babe with the power, and coming up next on WAYO LP Rochester is The Sound of Tomorrow, where we're talking about viral misinformation, and we might be spreading some of that to you. You never know what you're going to get on The Sound of Tomorrow. We're talking universal pet care. We've got some NASA news, and if we still have more things we got to talk about, we're going to talk about you, your family, Thanksgiving, and COVID. But first...
Oh boy, turkeys. You sure are gonna be delicious. Just let me get this axe sharpened right here. Oh my goodness, this is a squirmy one. Just you hold still, little turkey, and it'll all be over soon. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1.
Stop! Halt the execution!
What? Who the heck are you? And what right have you to halt my execution of my turkey?
I am... Okay. Hold on one second. I ran all the way here. Let me just... Okay. I am Heather Zykowski, official pardoner of turkeys. You may not execute those turkeys.
And I don't suppose you have any paperwork to back up this highly dubious position?
Actually I do. Crap. Did I leave it in the Uber? Oh wait, here it is.
Let me see that. Okay, partner of turkeys. Federal Department of Turkey Absolution. Blah, blah, blah. For remittance of turkey sins. Pardons for 36 turkeys named below. Got the presidential seal. Okay, well, it does all seem to be in order.
Thank you. I'm glad you've seen reason.
Okay, hold on now. Just because you've got all the proper paperwork doesn't mean that I plan to go hungry on Thanksgiving.
Well, okay, but there's plenty of delicious vegetarian things to eat. Most people like the sides best anyway. And how big is your family?
Oh, it's just me.
And you were going to eat 36 turkeys?
Well, not all on Thanksgiving. No, I like the leftovers for sandwiches, you know.
Nevertheless, these turkeys have been pardoned.
You liberals and your soft on criminals' ways. Don't you know that these are some of the most hardened turkey criminals in the entire county?
They're turkeys. How bad could they be?
Let me give you some examples. Here. This special gal is known as Getaway Sticks Gertie. She ran lookout for some of the biggest turkey criminal operations of the last 5 years.
She's a turkey. How bad could it possibly be?
Knocked over 3 banks and set fire to a liquor store because they didn't have her brand of gin.
None of which takes into account her socioeconomic background, a family history of substance abuse, as well as the fact that by when you say she cleaned out those banks, she only cleaned out the break room fridge. The liquor store thing, well, that's pretty bad behavior. I'm not going to defend that. Gertie, you really ought to be ashamed of yourself. But it's not a capital offense.
Okay, look, none of this really matters. You're out here all by your lonesome, aren't you? We don't get any cell reception, and all you have is a stack of papers while I have a newly sharpened axe.
Well, okay, but I hereby request and require that you stop these executions in the name of the law.
And I hereby ain't gonna do no such thing. No missy.
In that case, let's see what those getaway sticks can do, Gertie. Leg it!
Hey, you come back here! Heather Zykowski, official partner of turkeys. Your time is up. You can't hole up in my barn with those turkeys forever.
Oh, I don't have to.
What do you mean? Come on out of there.
I've just been chatting with, what did you call them? The most hardened turkey criminals in the country? All 36 of them? And they're not thrilled about being made into sandwiches for you either. So if you want us to come out.
Where did you all get little switchblades?
What do you think, Gertie? Does he deserve a pardon this year? Yeah, I didn't think so either. The good news is, it sounds like meat's back on the menu for Thanksgiving. Get him, gobblers!
No! Oh, so stupid.
Oh, I loved it.
Hey, everybody, I'm Ross Johnson, your favorite co-host.
And I'm Heather Zykowski, the babe with the power. Welcome back to the Sound of Tomorrow on WAOIO LP Rochester.
Hey, Heather, I've got big news.
What have you got?
I'm wearing an extra swooshy jacket, which is inappropriate for on the radio. But you know what? I don't even care because
No, swoosh it up.
I'm doing it. When I was in like elementary school,
Yeah.
there was were you ever aware of a game called What's Up 7 Up?
Was it the one where you had to put your head down on the desk and you would put your thumb up? And
Yep.
then the kids would come around and the kids who didn't like you would like almost break your thumb and they'd get away with it because the teacher didn't see how hard they hit your hand.
Okay, everything's really traumatic with you. But yes, that is exactly the game. But here's the problem, because in the game, which is probably not called What's Up 7 Up anymore for copyright infringement reasons, you had to guess who the person was who tried to shatter Heather's thumb because they hated her so much.
Right. Yes, that was. But how?
But parachute pants were in.
They were.
Yeah. And everybody know who, because you had parachute pants, and I had my trauma involving What's Up 7 Up was I was wearing parachute pants one day and I lost because everybody knew it was me. It's just going because I was the thumb smasher in that situation. Because I think you switched or something. It was like if you figured it out, you switched or whatever.
I don't remember anything more than like the feeling of terror that I had to put my head down on my desk and I knew it was quite likely that someone was going to hurt my hand.
You had a rough childhood.
I did.
I thought I had a rough childhood, but I don't know.
I was very unpopular.
So I didn't mean for that story to be a trigger. But
but you know that's how any kind of story goes with me.
Yeah. I'm afraid to bring up literally anything. So. You know what I'm not afraid to bring up, Heather?
What? Oh, ooh, good segue. No.
Little puppies and kitties.
Puppies and kitties.
So I was skimming slate.com earlier.
Heck yeah.
And I uncovered an article, and by uncovered I mean it was on the front page and I clicked on it. It wasn't like I wasn't like Sherlock Holmes or nothing. I just clicked on it. I saw it and I clicked on it. I can read, I guess, is the only, humble brag in this scenario worth making. A little bit by Margaret Grebowitz is maybe how you say that name. It should be free to take your dog to the vet, and having a furry friend is good for your mental health, except for the part about the surprise bills. And I wanted to bring this up because I know we're both pet owners. And
we are.
I will skip ahead to Margaret Grebowitz does say that, in this discussion that we're about to have about free healthcare for pets, it goes without saying, or perhaps it does need to be said, that people should have free healthcare first. And Margaret Grebowitz even says specifically, if we have to pick one or the other, obviously I'm going with free healthcare for people, universal healthcare for people. But Margaret Grebowitz talks about spends a lot of time talking about dogs. So all the scientific benefits to having a dog. And I think for cats, it's not much different or similar, but and presents a bunch of links to a bunch of research about all the stuff about, dogs helping to lower blood pressure, dogs helping to, dogs helping your heart because people, dog owners tend to have lower blood pressure. They talk about for people who tend toward being sedentary, dogs will help to encourage an increase in physical activity. They can benefit mood, all that sort of stuff. And there's all sorts of
Mm-hmm.
scientific-y stuff related to that. There's even stuff about, there's even a link to an article, with a scientific sort of backing behind it about how when pets are allowed in the workplace, it can improve workplace morale, and it can lower
Mm-hmm.
medical costs for workers if there's a dog in the thing. So anyway, the bottom line seems to be that overall, more dog ownership. And again, I don't know that it's that different for cats, but most of the stuff that is
Yeah.
presented is about dogs.
Oh,
So
of course it is. And people like to put down cats. But I've got to say, I think anybody who's ever listened to this program or listened to me speak for 10 minutes or less,
mhm,
they know how much I love my cat, how
yeah,
much joy he brings me all the time.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess some of the stuff, some of the stuff, maybe it's just not as well studied. Like, I don't know if a dog's gonna or a cat's gonna encourage you to be less sedentary.
Oh, you got to get up and you got to play with the cat.
I don't know. Do you?
Yeah.
Do you have to get up and is your cat making you jump up and take him for walks all the time?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just saying. It's
No,
fine.
he does. I do dance recitals for him, though,
Okay.
pretty often.
All right.
He doesn't seem to know what to make of it, but I think he's like, oh, good, she's playing.
Yeah. So if you're a lonely cat lady, it's definitely going to give you ideas about things to do.
Right.
Um, so, we know food can be expensive. If you're talking about a dog, training can be expensive. All these things are good and healthful. But of course, vet care, we know. Now,
Hmm.
again, we're talking about dogs here. I think cats is not that much different. Routine visits can cost between $700 and $1,500 a year, for fees and vaccines and all that. And then, of
Wow.
course, you think about emergencies,
Hmm.
which is can suddenly be astronomical. The majority, according to one paper, the majority of dog owners can't afford emergency pet care. Nearly, I think it's so 70% of American households have a pet.
Hmm.
Um, 1 in 3 pets require emergency vet care. Uh, in a year. And only 39% of Americans have enough savings to cover a $1,000 pet emergency, which they
Hmm.
can be a lot more than that. So,
Oh, they sure can.
so it's this was interesting to me thinking about this. If we think about this, feels like a lot of other things to me, and I don't know that universal pet free pet healthcare, pet insurance is, a thing I'm going to go out on the street for just now, just because it seems like there are more pressing things, I guess. But it seems like one of those things where if we agree that pets are a net benefit
Hmm.
to people, to society, I feel like anything that improves people's health and increases people's mood and well-being, and et cetera, is, not just a benefit to the individual. It's an economic benefit. It's a benefit to, if we have happier, healthier people, I think it benefits our entire society.
Hmm.
But then we have a situation where people can't. So it's good if you have a dog. It's good for you. It's good for your society. But people can't afford them. And then we go on to talk about here how a lot of the people who would benefit most from having a pet. So they talk about prison animal programs are proven to lower recidivism among inmates, at risk youth, all sorts of things. People with PTSD, addiction issues, they can be helpful there. Again, cats, I don't think it's any different, but this is mostly talking about dogs. Um, are the people least likely to be able to afford some of these things?
Mm.
So it's interesting. It was just it's not something that ever occurred to me. I mean, I have this, I'm certainly aware of the cost of having a pet.
Hmm. Yes.
And I think I've been a little judgy in some circumstances where I'm like, well, if that person can't afford, I'm not talking about emergencies. I've seen people who clearly don't have the means for even basic care, and I
Yeah.
sort of feel like that's not fair to the animal. However much you care, and there are different scenarios. I mean, it's like with kids or pets or anything. I mean, there are better and worse scenarios. You can make up for a lack of money in a lot of other ways if you're, putting in the care and all that. But at the base of it, it's expensive. Even like the heartworm pills and things that we give our dogs,
Uh-huh.
the vet will tell us like there are people that just don't do that either because they don't bother, they can't afford it, and their dogs just have these issues all the time. They just have these problems all the time. Um, you know, would it be to our benefit if there were if health, if pet health care bills were cheaper? I mean, it seems like a smaller problem in terms of the problems that we have, including, I mean, the obvious comparison here is to people healthcare, which is
Mm-hmm,
a
mm-hmm.
huge, huge, huge problem. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like it's kind of the same as like the American medical system for people. Like I don't understand why these bills cost as much as they do.
Yeah.
And I know what I usually pay when I take Nigel in. He just gets his annual exam, and it's $100 to $200 depending on what he needs, like vaccines and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Um, so I did not know that a dog's just regular routine care was like $1,000 a year.
Yeah. And I don't know if we pay that much. I honestly, I don't know. I sort of don't know what we pay in the sense that we got see pet health insurance
Hmm.
is also exorbitantly expensive. Um,
Yes.
but we got health insurance for them when they were little, and we sort of thought like, well, let's try it for a year because
Hmm.
the first year especially, you have all the extra tests and all the things and all the getting spayed and neutered and all that sort of stuff.
Hmm.
So, and we've sort of kept it, even though we're probably not getting our money's worth out of it, but it is a little bit of a peace of mind of that in terms of, okay, we know we can afford this, and it pretty much covers just about everything. So even though we've probably not gotten our money's worth out of it, we know that there is
Hmm.
sort of a limit to what kind of situation that could occur.
Yeah.
So it's on the one hand, we're paying more than we need to. On the other hand,
Right.
we're paying more for a little peace of mind. But again, it's that's sort of a stupid thing too. I mean, as with people healthcare, it's that whole
Hmm.
gambling on how much healthcare you think you're going to need,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
rather
which
than
you never know. Yeah, I
getting
remember
a
looking
reasonable
into
bill.
pet insurance when I had ferrets. I
Hmm.
had like 5 ferrets, and I think it was $100 per animal per month. And I just didn't have $500 a month to get insurance for the ferrets.
Yeah, that adds up quick when you've got a lot of ferrets.
Right. I don't know how much it would be for just one cat, but he's old too, so maybe I'd be paying a whole ton.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. Do you, it's, I think I'm not an expert in the field, but I mean, to pay for animal health insurance, is it worth it? I don't know. I feel like it's maybe not. I mean, it just depends on your circumstances. I mean, like I said,
Hmm.
for us, it's we had a scare too because they're both labs, and labs
Right.
are prone to like ACL issues,
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
our our dogs are mixed. So they, knock on wood, they don't seem to have had that problem. Um, Hopefully with the little genetic blending, that seems to have not, that
Hmm.
seems to have had that not be a problem. But we had a scare with that early on where somebody hurt, turns out her foot, but the doctor was like, oh, it could be her ACL. And just so you know,
Right.
with a lab, this is what it costs. You've got 4 of these legs
Yep.
between your dogs, and it was something like $2,000 $2,500
Yeah.
a leg, and all 4 of them could go. So,
Right. Yep. Yeah. My sister has had a number of labs in her lifetime, and I'm pretty familiar with the ACL stuff.
mhm. Yeah. So, you know,
Yeah, it
um,
is. It's kind of wild. I do always worry about it because I remember, again, with the ferrets, just because there are so many of them, when it was anything that required them to go to the vet other than just a routine checkup, it was always just spin the wheel and look at what I'm going to have to pay. I would never have
Yeah.
any clue how much it was going to be.
Yeah. It's like taking your car in, you just like, I don't know,
Right.
it's going to be hundreds, but
Right.
I don't
It's
know how
going to
many.
be a lot. I,
Yeah, it's well, and we have so many. There are so many animals. In again, I keep going back to we've got people problems as well, and those are
yes, of
we're
course.
not touching those either, unfortunately. So this
Right.
is sort of a fantasy world in which
It
we've
is.
dealt with those problems, and we're able to move on. But we have there are a lot of animals that need homes in this country. Obviously, there are a lot of
Hmm.
benefits to have animals, but then nobody nobody can actually afford them. Nobody can actually
Right.
afford to take care of them properly, which certainly mitigates some of the the health benefit to your mood if you're worried about if you're worried about your dog having an emergency that you can't pay for or cat.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And I'm kind of wondering, we can't even like write them off on our taxes.
Right.
Like I can't I can't claim Nigel as a dependent, even though I'll
And
tell
he's
you he is.
extremely, yeah.
Extremely. Won't get his driver's license or anything.
No.
Just won't. It's not that he can't. It's just he won't.
but, but in fairness, you're dependent on him too, so.
I know it's true.
And
We are.
he does write you off on his taxes, so.
I'm sure he does. Yeah, and then he keeps the whole return for himself.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm buying
So
him special chow.
So I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if I'm writing. I'm going to be writing my congressperson about that anytime soon because seems like there are bigger fish to fry. But I think it would with anything medical in this country.
I know. That's the
It's always
thing.
it's so arbitrary and such a it seems like almost part of the same problem of it's just stuff is just way too expensive and no one understands why. No one understands
Hmm.
what anything's going to cost.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, I guess there's a little more transparency with animals, but it's not really any cheaper.
Yeah, I kind of don't think that there is. Because I know last time I took Nigel in, they were like, oh, bring in a stool sample because we need to do this test. So I was like, I guess it's because he's old. I don't know.
Oh, we take poop every time we go. So I don't know.
Yeah, they hadn't asked me to do
They've
that
never asked for
before.
it, but
Oh, you just take it in.
sorry.
Um,
No, they I don't know. They check their poop every time we go in for a checkup. So I don't know what,
maybe because they
but
go outside.
oh, maybe.
Because it turned out this test was to see if he had any parasites. But had I known I was going to pay $40 to $60 for this test, and had I known what it was for,
Mm-hmm.
like, because I just thought it was part of he's 16, so we're doing an elder cat exam. But I wouldn't have paid it because, like, he doesn't go out. He's never been out. Where's he going to get a parasite from?
You?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't have any parasites to give to him.
I wish we had a thing about parasites now to segue to. That
I
would
know,
be
wouldn't
nice,
that be
wouldn't that?
great?
That
But
would be
speaking
perfect.
of parasites, I've got some parasite news to give to you.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't that be great?
Oh
Uh, you got parasites for me?
well, I have. Well, if we we can talk about viral issues.
Ooh, a
You want to talk
parasite
about
on society.
some viral misinformation?
I do.
All right, so let me let me close my dog stuff here because I've got too many things open. I used to print everything out for a thing, which was bad for the world, but it did help me be more organized because now I'll just have all these tabs open with the things I want to talk about, and it's not as efficient. I mean,
Yeah,
it's more paper efficient. It's more like it's better for trees,
I know.
but
I still print. I'm so bad.
yeah, I don't at home because I'm like, oh, I can just bring it up on my screen. But then it's harder to find things. Like if it's a piece of paper,
Yes.
I know where it is on the piece of paper. So this was interesting, and I saw this story came up in a couple different ways for me. So I'll hit sort of both the angles. They're sort of similar, but it was sort of an interesting low level, no high pressure study in why things go wrong on the internet and why information is able to spread. So a Twitter user, and you know what? I won't even give this person's name because I feel like I feel like she became the center of a storm that was like that she kind of is at fault for, but it became a bigger thing, and I don't know that it's entirely her fault. So she posted something. So she's a this is a Twitter user. This was a Twitter account, and this is someone with quite a few with a lot of followers. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why this person is a little famous or whatever, but this is a person who's a little famous at least. Um, uh, said today I learned there is such a thing as the tasseled Wobbegong shark, and I need to share it all with you. And it's a funny picture of a thing that looks sort of like a Muppet on the ocean floor, right? And you're like, oh,
Mm.
that seems interesting. So, um, it, this this got hit a couple ways. So there was a doctor, who is a cetacean, I believe he's a cetacean biologist,
Okay.
David Shiffman, who responded to this. I guess a couple people responded to this thing because there's especially with the oh, I forget the big environmental conference that's just been going on. Basically,
Mm.
we're in the middle of a thing where people are talking about shark conservation,
Okay.
and he sort of felt like this doctor, as he describes it, he sort of felt like, okay, with all this, it's perfectly fine. He's like, I wasn't trying to be mean to this person, but it was literally not a picture of even a shark. And he's
Oh.
like, I don't think, and he was like, I don't, and he's like, I don't think that this was a person trying to like create some sort of false shark, but he's like, with all the shark stuff, this was a top trending tweet on Twitter. This
Okay.
was like people were being directed this tweet, and he's like, with all this stuff about shark conservation, I just felt like, so he's sort of like, I just sort of politely was like, oh, hey, just so this is not one of those kind of sharks, and it's not even actually a shark.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not a picture of that. Um, and um, and a few marine biologists chimed in. So this is the angle from this person that I thought was interesting. So he there was no effort to correct the tweet, which there are reasons for that come to the sort of the second part of this. But he says, he says, okay, so he says several marine biologists, including myself, politely requested that the person who appears to have made an innocent mistake with no harm intended remove their inaccurate tweet, which could then be replaced with an accurate one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this has not happened. Much more troublingly, though, I have received more than 60 angry replies. This is as of hours ago, but this thing kind of kept going. More than 60 angry replies from randos about this. Apparently, I am canceling Wobbegong sharks. I'm a hateful nerd. I am attacking women online. Um, because I politely requested a brief bit of factual accuracy. Several of the randos are arguing with me, saying that the photo does indeed show a shark. It doesn't.
Oh no.
I have a
Oh
PhD in this field.
no.
um, and
Oh
I looked at some of
no.
the and I looked at some of the responses, and it was everything from like, oh no, this is a shark, and so the second part of this gets into why people were defending that this was a shark, and
Uh,
basically it's the idea that as part of this misinformation thing, things go up on Google, and people just label them with whatever they want. So a
right.
lot of times, if you find a picture that says it's a thing, you just go, oh, this must be the thing because Google says so.
Mm-hmm.
But without doing any further research, just having a tag on a picture isn't necessarily proof that that picture is of what it says it is,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just people putting in those tags.
Right.
Um, and yeah, so the responses were, there was sort of the mansplaining angle of like, why are you mansplaining to this woman that
Oh boy.
it's not a shark? Which is a thing. I mean, the biggest problem on the internet is certainly not that men don't get their perspective out there enough, but I've definitely seen mansplaining sort of weaponized as a way to,
Yes.
you know, oh, you're a man. Now you're trying to explain to me this thing. And
Yes.
it's like, okay, I'm just saying it's really the thing.
See,
um,
that's the darn thing. Like the whole people who start screaming about cancel culture,
mhm.
they're also using that in a weaponized way. He wasn't trying to cancel the shark. He wasn't trying to
Right.
cancel this lady. He wasn't trying to cancel anything. He was just saying, like, oh, yeah, by the way, that's actually like not what you say it is. It's not even a shark. Weird.
Right. Um, and then there were things of like, why are you even jumping in here to argue about this?
Because
Which,
it's not a
okay,
shark. I mean, I
yeah,
guess, but it sounds like he didn't jump in to argue. It sounds like he saw it and was like, "Oh yeah, that's not a shark."
um,
And now everybody's acting like he sent her some kind of diatribe and also called her a bunch of mean names that were like epithets against women.
yeah. And I saw his response, and then, like I said, I went to look at the original thing to see, like, okay, what did he actually say, and
Yeah.
what were the response? And he characterizes it, as far as I could see, perfectly reasonably. I mean, like, he was sort of like, hey, just so you know, this is not
Yeah.
just this is not a shark. um, and then, but yeah, and then the responses, it was that thing you see of people going around and around in circles with all the, you know, or either the people who were just like, no, it is. It's like, and the people who were like, why, there was sort of a angry that he would bother to correct it because it doesn't matter. um but so another person, a writer named Ryan Broderick, was looking at some of this, and had an interesting perspective. So this is a freelance writer named Ryan Broderick. He has a popular. I've heard of the guy. I'm not sure what his whole thing is, but he has a newsletter called Garbage Day about web culture, which is
Okay.
pretty popular. He's, I don't know. Like, again, I don't 100% understand his credentials, but he's legit, at least in terms of a lot of people read his stuff. So that's all I can say about him. But um, he talks about how this sort of thing a little more detail about how this sort of thing can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so first things first, he says, how did Lizette stumble across this photo of a tasseled Wobbegong shark? And this is what we talked about a moment ago. I suspected it was from a particular viral Tumblr post. It just feels like a wrong thing Tumblr users would share. After a bunch of searching, couldn't find that, but found that if you Google tasseled Wobbegong shark, the picture that the original poster posted is the third picture that pops up.
Okay.
And that's not because of the popularity of the tweet. It's because it's and and then that picture links to a video on YouTube. Um, and and I guess it says the comments in the video are all like, that is not a shark. It's actually a monkfish, in case anyone's curious about what the picture actually is.
Okay.
Um, so it's so
Wait, it's a monkfish, you say?
Yeah, it's a monkfish,
Okay.
not a shark. So it goes into the whole thing, and I won't go into all the details, but it goes back to sort of it all goes back to this, like, what they call an SEO farm. So one of these sort of content generation engines that's just generating the lowest level, easiest content it can, but using all the SEO stuff to get it out there,
Mm-hmm.
using all the tricks, using all the keywords, all the tags, all that sort of stuff. So it basically goes back to this, you know, so this idea that this monkfish is a shark goes back to this sort of nothing corner of the internet where almost literally somebody like attached this picture because the picture might have had some SEO value to some words and phrases that might have had some SEO value, and it threw it out on the internet. So that's where all that comes from. I mean, and he goes into detail about like tracing it all the way back down to this exactly where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
He says, so, this Ryan, I'm sorry, I'm blah. So this this Ryan Broderick, again, because I'm not organized, because I've got all this stuff on thing. So, says a content creator learns so what sort of happened here? A content creator learns a fun fact about a shark.
Mm-hmm.
The content creator either Googles the name of the shark and tweets out the first picture they see, which, I mean, if you're not thinking about all this, is
Yes.
not unreasonable. Or they're sent the photo from somewhere. But it's the wrong photo because an SEO farm run by, in this case, a random man from Wales has inserted the misinformation into Google search results. The content creator. So, and then the sort of circle back where this comes back to what the original guy was talking about. So the content creator, so the tweet goes viral. This original woman posts this tweet, it goes viral.
Mm-hmm.
Winds up muting the tweet because you don't want the notifications all day that you're getting, from this viral tweet where you're getting a million comments and a billion likes and all that. So you mute the tweet. So
Okay.
you have no idea what's going on. You're not paying attention to any of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's just too much information there. It's also still doing traffic. So the content creator, when they finally learn that the tweet is incorrect, doesn't actually delete the tweet because you've got an extremely popular viral tweet.
Right.
um, and then the coup de grace here, the final bit is, so dozens of verified experts attempt to debunk the incorrect tweet, except all they've done is trick Twitter's trending algorithms into further promoting the tweet because of all the attention being delivered to the post.
Oh
So
boy.
that was very roundabout, and I apologize for not having that information organized a little bit better to express it. But it was an interesting combination of stuff we kind of know and then details I might not have thought of. But the thing about, you'll see stuff too where, like back in the Donald Trump days, which I guess
Mm-hmm.
are, I say back in the Donald
That
Trump
wasn't
days.
too
I don't know.
long
I don't know
ago.
if they're not real. I don't even know if they're gone.
Yeah,
Um,
that's true.
People would be like, don't you want to, you want to respond to this tweet or you want to retweet this tweet to be like, look at this ridiculous thing that Donald Trump said,
Mm-hmm.
just as an example. And you'd see stuff and have to be reminded sometimes like, no, that is exactly what is desire. That's exactly the desired effect.
I.
Because whether you're saying something good, something bad, all the social media, algorithms and things, all they know is people are interacting with this tweet. And that's where if there's money on the line, that's where the money is. If there's, it's directing other people to that tweet. It's not necessarily directing people to your response. It's directing people to the original tweet. So,
Mm-hmm.
so this is the problem with correcting misinformation, right? Like if you see misinformation and you try to correct it, all you're doing is directing people to the misinformation. They may or may not ever see that you responded to correct it. It's interesting and sort of bad.
Yeah, definitely. So with that tweet, did the original person who made the post, did she ever at least chime in the comments?
As of as of last time I looked at this, there was something. Okay. I will answer that specifically. So she says,
Yeah.
I muted this yesterday and somehow woke up. You know what? This is I'm talking about this person like it's a big mystery. So this is and again, I don't think this is a monster, so don't like attack this person. This is Twitter user Cara Lizette, CaraliSette. So if you want to look at this up yourself again, and I don't think this is a person is a monster. I think it's just she's just an example
Yeah.
of the thing that any of us could sort of do. I muted this yesterday and somehow woke up to a viral tweet and lots of messages from people that this is actually a photo of a similar looking fish. I will never forget the day I crossed shark Twitter. I feel like I need to do one of those YouTube apology videos. So her response was sort of, and maybe there were angry responses in there. I didn't see any. The ones I saw were like pretty polite. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure, but being what it is, I'm sure there were responses in there that were like, "You're so stupid, you don't know a shark from a thing," So
Well,
I
and you
don't
never
know.
know what was in her DMs.
Right, right. So the original tweet is still there. She hasn't corrected the tweet with anything. She's just kind of said like, I don't know. It's so the response was sort of
Yeah.
the response never says like I was wrong or this isn't really that. So I don't know. I don't know how to take that. Again, I don't think I have no
Yeah.
reason to believe this
Oh,
person is a
it's
monster.
fine.
I
No.
just but I do think this is probably a person who wants their viral tweet to stay viral
Yes. Right. Well,
and
that
keep going.
that is kind of the thing. I mean, that's often what you're looking for when you post anything to anywhere, really.
Right.
You want attention.
Right. It's kind of the game, So yeah. So at least that's the one response I've seen. I don't know if the person this I don't know if she said more about it or not, but I think that seemed to be the response, and that was it from what I can see, just looking quickly. But again,
Interesting.
and it comes back to that thing of like, if I ever had a tweet that got more than like 10 likes,
Yeah,
and then I found out it was wrong, I'd be really upset. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I got my one viral tweet.
I know.
And now it got 11 likes. And now I have to delete it or
Well,
correct it.
couldn't you edit it? Yeah, because I feel like an easy edit could be like, ha ha ha, I thought this was this shark. It's a monkfish.
I mean, that's what I would do. And that's what I've a couple times, because I'm a nobody. Sometimes if I tweet something wrong, I'll just delete it real quick and figure nobody saw it. Or even later, I'll be like, nobody saw this. I'm sure nobody saw it. It's been hours, but I'm sure nobody saw this. If I think people saw it, like if people have responded a couple times, where I've tweeted something wrong, then I will like sort of retweet myself and be like, hey, this was incorrect. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, Twitter is a platform that I am almost never on,
Mm-hmm.
which
But
you
it's no,
probably noticed because you're one of the few people who follows me on Twitter.
but it's no different than. I mean,
It's no
it's
different than
different in.
Insta or anything like that. It is different.
Yeah,
I mean, they'll have their own weird little
right.
cultures.
Right. They all have their own weird stuff, but it's the same. I think the principles are sort of the same, and the
Yeah, it's
ways
social
information are
media.
spread is might not be exactly the same, but it kind of goes in the same, in the same pattern.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty wild. You want to hear about something else that's kind of wild?
Yes, do.
So, this is our NASA news, and I'm going to read this headline because I love it. This is from NPR, and it's by Nell Greenfield Boyce, and it is entitled, In a First Test of Its Planetary Defense Efforts, NASA's Going to Shove an Asteroid.
Love that.
And the headline really, I was like,
They named the asteroid Heather.
they named it
Yeah.
Roz.
No, because everybody loves me.
They
You're the
do.
one.
It's
You're the one
absolutely
who's.
true.
You're the one whose thumb they're all trying to smash all the time.
I know that hurt so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad. I wish I could remember like how that game was played and how it was won. Just hurt as
Oh,
many kids as you can.
just hurt as many children as you can. Once 5 or more kids are crying, it's done. That's it.
Yeah. No, I tried to never cry no matter how much it hurt because that would only make everything worse.
That's always a good policy. Just in life, just in general, that's a good policy. So I think you learned a good lesson from
Yeah.
that.
So NASA's about to launch an unprecedented mission to knock an asteroid slightly off course. And this is going to be the first real world test of a technique that could someday be used to protect Earth from a threatening space rock. So there's a golf cart sized spacecraft that's going to travel to an asteroid that's more than 6 million miles away. And this asteroid poses no danger to Earth. So we're just going to go out and pick a freaking fight with an asteroid. Not sure that's a great idea, to be honest with you, but it's going to fly on out there and ram on into it. And then scientists will watch as to see how the asteroid's trajectory changes after the golf cart sized spaceship runs into it.
Changes from was not a danger to Earth to
Well, that's the thing. I mean, they've definitely, like, the article says a couple times, like, don't worry, this isn't going to make the asteroid come after Earth. Well, I I'm no spaceologist, so I'll admit this.
I'm
This
no
does
spaceman.
I kind of am, but nevertheless. So NASA has identified and tracked almost all of the nearby asteroids of a size that would cause any world-altering damage if they ever struck Earth, and for the foreseeable future, none that big are headed our way. But there are lots of small ones that could take out a city that still haven't been found and tracked. So I guess we're going to go after those once we get enough golf cart things to punch them out of the way.
Well, and I will say, so like, there's definitely a part of me that says, okay, okay, maybe we shouldn't start shoving around things in space because you never know, the you're gonna you're gonna knock it into a slightly different trajectory, and then it's gonna swing back around in 20 years, and
Well,
It's tiny. I mean, it's literally only gonna hit Heather on the thumb, but still,
Ow!
yeah. A fiery space rock hitting you in the thumb that's bad enough. That's nobody wants that. Um, on the other hand, so that's a great so so messing with things that not leaving well enough alone is a big fear of mine.
Yeah,
You know, meddling in God's handiwork is a big fear of mine. But also, I mean, asteroids coming out of space and killing us is also a pretty big one, and it's a scary scenario in that, you know, like I said, pretty much the big ones for the most part they know that could like end the planet. They know where they are. Um, but even if they did, but even if they did, we don't have a way to stop it. So it's like,
hmm
so it's like that's. I mean, that's great that you know where they are and you don't see any coming in the next few years. But it'd be, I guess, it'd be nice if we did see one like that. If we had a way to stop it, and the smaller ones that could still do a lot of damage that are going to be pretty darn close before we notice them. It would also be nice to have it's like, oh, this is only going to destroy Topeka, Kansas. It would still be
yeah,
nice to have a way to do something about that. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
yeah. I don't know either, and I guess this is such new technology. What they have to see is like how it's going to work, or if it's going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I'm reading in this article, it says that there are these two asteroids. There's Didymos and Dimorphos. And Didymos is about 2,500 feet across, and Dimorphos is about 525 feet across. And the one that NASA's going to punch is the little one.
Okay.
So they're it. The article is somebody is quoted in the article saying, "So it's like a small golf cart running into a great pyramid. Only this golf cart will be going 15,000 miles per hour."
Huh.
Yeah. And there's going to be some images like obviously the spacecraft is going to destroy itself during this mission, but before it smashes to pieces, it'll be sending images back. So NASA will receive images of the spacecraft smashing into the asteroid.
I do love an asteroid. I do love asteroid pictures.
Yeah. And no one knows what shape this asteroid has or whether its surface is smooth or rugged. And the pair of asteroids is so small and so far away that telescopes only see them as little more than a point of light.
What if it's got tiny people on it, and then do you think we can stop the golf cart in time? Probably not.
It's going too fast.
Yeah. Whatever. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, we found light. Oh no. We just oh.
I know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm
Although I assume the goal is not to, I mean, the goal, I guess, is not to destroy the thing. So maybe if they're not standing right in the spot, it's just going to
right.
move them. So
Yeah, it's
maybe
just
it'll
going
be
to
all right.
push it a little bit. And then there's apparently going to be a tiny little satellite that the golf cart is going to jettison before it explodes itself.
Like an escape, like an,
Yeah. I mean, it
like
really sounds very interesting just puttering along and it knows exactly when to like shoot its little passenger away and smash itself into an asteroid.
it's very smart. It's all very smart. I'm, I'm, I'm happy because I'm happy in that we're still doing interesting stuff in space because it seems like, and I know there are a lot of people doing good science on Earth, but it all gets so bound up with so many other things. And space science does too. Obviously, there's a lot of stupidity and politics in space science as well. I was just reading a whole thing from Phil Plait about the new space launch system, which is this like our prime. It's our primary go to. We basically have it because the NASA administrator lives in Florida, and Florida would like some money, please. But it's this giant thing that was it's like 5 years overdue, and it's going to be like 5 years before it's done, and it's cost like 3 times the money it was supposed to, and it's like technology that's like 10 years behind that they want to use for 30 years as the next big as like the sole way that Americans will launch things into space.
Ah,
um so there's stuff there's a lot of stuff like that. So I feel like the small things in space science like this, which is potentially a big thing in the long run,
Yeah, it really could be.
this is probably where the magic is right now, because a lot of the big stuff, again, like this space launch system, is
Hmm.
apparently just this giant expensive boondoggle that
Right.
is going to be, is going to be just costing money forever and will always be behind.
Yeah. Yep. In good asteroid news, um, because you do sometimes think about, like, what about a big asteroid hitting the Earth? And astronomers believe they've located and tracked at least 90% of the largest nearby asteroids. And that means ones that measure more than 3,280 feet across. But then there, like I mentioned earlier, a hit from a smaller asteroid about 450 feet in diameter could take out a city. And scientists currently only know about where 40% of the ones they believe are out there actually are. But so
and
NASA's Planetary Defense Office is supporting development of a new space telescope to hunt for more in that size range.
and I have to go back to your original number of the 90% of like planet killing asteroids that we know where
Yeah.
they are.
Yep.
I don't hear 90% of the planet killing asteroids that are nearby that we know where they are. I hear
10% that we
10% of
don't.
the planet killing asteroids that are nearby, we don't know where they are. I think
I don't know.
those are big odds. Those are not as good odds to me as I would like.
I mean, weren't we talking about this last episode and we were like, asteroid, that's fine. Bring it.
We're on it. It's done. We've
It's okay.
we gave it a shot.
We did. We tried real hard. I don't know. We could probably take the space bridge and escape in time, but
Yeah.
why?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
Yeah,
Asteroid,
I don't
come
know.
get me.
We'll just jettison a little satellite. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I like it.
So that's my NASA news. I want to wish every space cadet out there a happy, I guess, Thanksgiving, and we also, is it Indigenous Peoples Day
um,
that we
that
call
is
it?
Columbus Day, I
Oh,
think.
okay.
Wait,
I've
I mean,
seen
I'm not that.
people posting about it.
Wait, maybe Indigenous people. Okay, I'm showing my ignorance now.
Yeah, so am I,
Yeah,
definitely. But
no.
that's
So
okay.
Indigenous Peoples Day. Yeah, Indigenous Peoples Day is October 10th. The
Okay.
what we would at about the time we would have what we would have referred to as Columbus Day if Columbus
Yeah,
weren't a genocidal monster.
back in the day when we were playing 7 Up in school. That's what we called it then.
Right. um,
But so Thanksgiving is coming up, and happy Thanksgiving, everybody, if you're spending time with family. I hope that's great. I've got a little article from NPR that kind of gives some basic kind of tips and tricks because we can't forget that we are still in the middle of a global pandemic.
hmm.
Things for some are getting a lot better. Vaccines are available for many, boosters are available for many. But some of the things the article points out is that if you're gathering with grandparents or other elders, realize they're still at risk. And it's just, unfortunately, people over 80 have an elevated risk of dying from COVID, even if they're vaccinated.
Yeah.
So, with that, it's important to take precautions during travel and in the week leading up to any celebration where older friends and relatives will be present. And, things you could do, just keep wearing your mask while you're at the store, keep washing your hands, just always wash your hands. And the article also suggests you get a booster shot if you're eligible. I think we're kind of out of time for boosters to be effective fully for this week's holiday, which is tomorrow.
Right. But
But
do it
hey,
anyway.
it's the holiday season. If you get your protection all boosted, I don't know, you can go ice skating or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you?
There's, go on.
I think it's good to continue to be cautious.
Yeah, there was an interesting suggestion that I hadn't thought of in here. Rapid tests can protect your guests.
Mm,
And apparently, it's not difficult these days to just get a home test for COVID.
yeah, they
And
do. I
so,
think they do. They do tend to cost money, so that's something to keep in
okay.
mind. But that is definitely, an option as well.
Yeah, and it says just briefly in this article that the tests aren't 100% reliable if someone's just been exposed. And it doesn't pick up really low levels of the virus. so it's not
Mhm.
going to pick up an early infection. But if you take the test the night before, the morning of the gathering, that could even lend people a little bit more confidence, maybe help people relax a little bit.
Yeah.
And of course, take precautions if young children are present who haven't been vaccinated or they've only had one shot so far, because the shots have just been approved for younger folks. There probably hasn't been time for everybody to get their 2 doses.
Right. Yeah, and stay away from your
But,
anti-vax family members. That's what I'd recommend.
well, there is definitely a think carefully about how to include unvaccinated family members.
Or not at all.
Well, it does say in this article, like, it's reasonable for people to require their guests to be immunized.
Yep.
And I've got to say, I don't want to hang out with people who haven't been vaccinated. I don't want unvaccinated people in my home.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely my right.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I guess if you're anti getting vaccinated, you have to make a choice. I mean, a lot of the anti-vax rhetoric is about, you know, comes down to like is a lot of there's a lot, you hear a lot of stuff about my rights and my rights, but unfortunately you have to make a choice. You don't have a right to go to somebody's house who doesn't want you there.
Right.
So if you want to do if you want to do the Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah stuff, whatever it is, maybe that's a choice you have to make, and you should not be upset if someone makes the choice to say, I choose not to risk my health and my life,
Yeah.
just so you can come over and eat some of my food.
Yeah. And especially when there could be such a multi generational setup for a lot of these holidays coming up.
Yep.
You've got the older friends, the older relatives, the young kids who maybe aren't quite yet fully vaccinated. You know,
Well,
I think it's reasonable.
people potentially coming in from various places and traveling through various different places. There are a lot of
Yeah.
vectors for concern, without people being as cautious as possible.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. So I don't know. As for me, staying home alone,
Just
it's
where
going
we
to be
like
so
you.
good. Just very like me. And you know what? Maybe I'll be doing on Thanksgiving Day as I give thanks. I might be listening to the archived recording of the show that's coming up right now here on WAYO LP Rochester. And that is Music Matters. So stay tuned.
Ba-ba-da-bop.
It's a good show.
Crap. Hold on. Oh, there it is. Okay. So thanks for coming to visit me in the hospital. I can't believe you sent 36 turkeys to kill me. But it's water under the bridge as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Anyway, I lost my Uber receipt in the melee at your farm the other day, so I'm wondering if you could just sign off on this affidavit. Just says I was at your farm, etc., just so I can expense my transpo.
Okay, you expect me to sign that after you and a bunch of turkeys tried to kill me?
You're totally exaggerating.
I won't do it.
In that case, I suppose I could ask my good friend Gertie to come chat with you.
Why does she have a lighter?
So yeah, just sign at the bottom there.